I'm a Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant. Give you a big and beautiful shout out on this Monday evening here in Denver, Colorado, 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. We're jumping on for our final daily dose of divine light, love, and power with our focus on the light aspect of the soul. And I had a good one for you guys, connected to the light or intelligence or creative aspect of the soul. And Karen, namaste. Nice to have you on. So just realized we did a 90-minute. These streams are supposed to be 5 to 10 minutes. We did a 90-minute. You heard that correctly. Anna, is that you? A 90-minute stream. So decided to, decided to delete that. We were all over the map. We weren't on point. We weren't focused. We're covering like 20 different topics. So we're going to make it short, sweet, and clear. So this book is from the Golden Lotus Sutra series by Grandmaster Choa Kok-Sui right here at the bottom. And this one is called Experiencing Being. This is a great, great book. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And this is connected to the light aspect of the self. And there's a bunch of funny stories about this. And I'm thinking which would be the most appropriate for this stream. But I'll read it to you anyways. Amanda, namaste. If your finger has never been put into the flame, you don't know that it will burn. So better to have the finger burn rather than the whole body burn. It is part of the growing up process. So what is this connected to? Adriana, namaste. Adriana is now up very, very late because she says, I can't even miss the 6 o'clock streams. Not going to happen even though there's an 8-hour difference. So we have to realize that as we grow and evolve and become better people, better souls, we're going to come up against challenges, true or not true. And a lot of those challenges are connected to inaccurate viewpoint, inaccurate perception, the inability to see something as it is because of negative pride, because of self-delusion, because of self-conceitedness. All of these things cloud us from seeing what is, seeing things clearly. So if the light aspect is not developed within the individual, instead of burning their finger by making a little mistake, they're going to burn their entire body by making a very, very big mistake that it could take them an entire incarnation or multiple incarnations to recover from. So what would that look like? Connecting it to the light aspect, there were several yoga practitioners. I'm not going to name names. I'll let you guys use your divine intelligence aspect to figure it out, that had developed giant, tremendously successful yogic organizations around the world that had impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of instructors and millions of practitioners and millions of hours of yogic practices, primarily Hatha yoga. And these particular people, there's a couple I have in mind right now. These particular people, because of inaccurate perception and incorrect expression, and because the light aspect was not developed to a high degree within them, they fell due to negative pride. That in one case, this person has been recovering from that. In the other case, most likely the person will not recover. Christiana, namaste, most likely will not be recovering from this for several lifetimes. Just to wait this time, I shouldn't have missed any of them. I know I shouldn't miss any of them. That's right, you should be on all of them. So, again, none of this is judgment or criticism of these souls because we are what? All in the process of growing and evolving. We all make mistakes, and the higher you go up in your spiritual evolution and development, the more important it is to practice awareness, to practice understanding, to practice humility, and to practice character building. Because if those things are not set as your foundation, you go higher and higher and higher, and you fall due to negative pride. The higher you go up, the greater the fall, right? The higher you go up, the greater the fall. Not recommended. So one of the masters in pranic healing says, it is better to fall from the bench than it is to fall from the balcony. Does that make sense? So you might be saying, so if I'm staying with the metaphor, if I fall from a bench, my physical body may or may not get hurt. But if I fall from a balcony, my physical body most likely will be destroyed and die, right? Is that what you're saying? Yes, but on a much, much more severe level. Because negative pride, especially spiritual pride, is one of the last vices, Penny Namaste, is one of the last vices to go on the way to becoming a fully realized human being. So as I understand it, even a saint or an arhat can fall due to pride. Only the holy masters have completely purified themselves of negative pride. Does that make sense? So connecting it to the light aspect, as we become more spiritually evolved, as we have access to greater and greater, Dhyana, Namaste, greater and greater energies, right? Everything gets accelerated within us and outside of us, but primarily inside of us. So if you have self-delusion, that gets sped up. If you have negative pride, that gets sped up. If you have low self-esteem and low self-image, that gets sped up. Denise, Namaste, because spiritual energy is a fertilizer for us on the path. So again, I'll read you the sutra from Grandmaster Chogo Koksui. If your finger has never been put into the flame, you don't know that it will burn. So this is part of the learning lessons of life. Hey, I want to do this to my physical body. Oh, that's not good. I want to try, how many of us have done this when we were growing up as teenagers? Let me try drinking. I got feedback. Let me try drugs. I got feedback. Let me try... what else do we try? Let me try stupid things of like jumping off bridges. That's things that I did for Massachusetts a little bit. I didn't risk my physical body with drugs and alcohol. I risked it doing dangerous things that were like adventurous, right? Negative pride, can you elaborate, please? Yes, I will do my best. That's an excellent question. So if I do something dangerous, that's partially dangerous and it hurts me a little bit, it burns my finger. If I have awareness, if the light aspect within me is developed, I'll go, yeah, I'm not going to do that again, right? But if I don't have awareness, I don't have understanding, I keep pushing the envelope of going higher and higher and higher, being a greater and greater risk taker with less awareness, and then ta-da. So people on the spiritual path that have a weakness, that weakness gets magnified bigger and bigger and bigger as they go up and up and up and up in their spiritual growth and development, and the greater the fall is. Does that make sense? So if you have anger, anger is magnified. If you have self-delusion, self-delusion is magnified. If you have greed, greed is magnified. If you have sexual lust or unhealthy sexual energy, gets magnified. Make sense? So very, very important to be aware of like, aha, I burned my finger doing that stupid thing. I'm not going to do that stupid thing again. But for those people who lack awareness and understanding, they burn their finger, they burn their hand, they burn their entire arm, they throw their entire body onto the flame. Ta-da, that's it. All bets are off, right? So Anna's asking the question, can you elaborate on negative pride? So negative pride is quite fascinating, and as we understand it, it's taught in the Bible, and Grandmaster Chogo Koksui covered this extensively, that pride cometh before the fall. Pride is the last thing to go or to be purified from our system, because pride, it's connected to perception. So you have physical energy and physical pride. You have emotional energy and emotional pride. You have mental energy and mental pride, right? You can even have spiritual pride. You're like, how can you have spiritual pride? Easy. I'm more evolved than you. I have bigger chakras than you. I have a bigger aura than you. I have a stronger connection to God than you. I know things about the spiritual world that you don't know about the spiritual world. That would be an example of spiritual pride. What's mental pride? Taking advantage of people who are not as mentally sharp and mentally developed as you. Rather than being kind and patient and loving with those people, you dominate them mentally. Right? Dominate them mentally. Laura, good to have you back on. Emotional pride, I would have to think about how emotional pride shows up. It could be similar to the example of I'm more loving. I'm more loving than the other person. I'm more caring than the other person. I'm sweeter, I'm softer, I'm kinder than the other person, right? That would be a function of emotional pride. Physical pride's pretty easy. Good to be here. Physical pride's very easy. My muscles are bigger than your muscles. My body fat is lower than your body fat. I'm physically more attractive than you are. I'm taller than you, you're shorter than me. I'm fitter than you, you're less fit than me, right? That would be physical pride. So, in essence, pride works on both ends of the spectrum. So you have one end of the spectrum of pride that you think you are better than everyone and anyone in that particular area, or all areas if you have really intense pride. So you think you're better than everyone, right? So that's one end of the spectrum of negative pride. The other form of negative pride is going, even if you are good in something, right? Let's say you have a healthy physical body. Let's say you have healthy emotions towards yourself and others, like you're kind, you're generous, you're encouraging with your words. Let's say you're very mentally sharp, you solve problems quickly. The light aspect is developed within you very, very well, or very good, right? Let's say you are regular with your meditation practice and you do practice high-level spiritual practices. So you're actually good in the things that you are good in, but because of negative pride, you downplay and discard those abilities and those things that you've developed, right? So if somebody says, you're so beautiful, right? You're so beautiful, you go, no, I'm not really that beautiful. Look at so-and-so, right? Or somebody would say, wow, you're really good with your finances. You're good at keeping everything in order. And you're like, no, so-and-so is much, much better at keeping their finances in order than I am, right? So negative pride shows up in the form of comparison. So as soon as you start comparing yourself to another person, you're practicing negative pride. That person has a better body than me. That person is better in bed than me. That person has more money than me. That person is more spiritually evolved than me. That person is smarter than me. Denise, namaste, right? When you're comparing yourself to other people, that's another way negative pride shows up. So you have two ends of the spectrum, yes? Where you want to be in, ideally, is the middle path, which is what the Lord Buddha teaches, the path of moderation and non-excessiveness, the path of the razor's edge. Yeah, I like the sunflower emojis. People don't use the sunflower emoji as often because it's bright and shiny. So when you're in the middle path, this is how it looks. You know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and you are accurate at portraying that to other people, right? So you go, okay, this is my level of development, and you compare yourself to your previous self. So you go, wow, look at where I've come from. I used to be this weight. I used to be unfit and unhealthy. Now I'm more fit and more healthy. Good for me. I used to meditate once a month. Now I meditate once a week. Good for me. I used to eat horribly 6 days a week. Now I only eat horribly 2 days a week. Good for me. So the way to alleviate negative pride in your life is through practicing humility. And humility means I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. That's it. So I know I'm good at this, this, and this, and I'm not so good at this, this, and this. And it's okay because you can't be perfect at everything, at least not in this lifetime, right? So negative pride is one of the last vices to go on the way to becoming a spiritually illuminated soul. So that is what I wanted to cover with you guys today from the Sutra book, Experiencing Being. Again, if your finger has never been put into the flame, you don't know that it will burn. Meaning, it's okay to make mistakes. Hello? Are you guys listening? It's okay to make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. The difference is, don't beat yourself up for 20 years about making a mistake that you just made a mistake on. You made a mistake. Move forward. You burned your finger. Don't burn your entire body, right? So better to have the finger burn rather than the whole body burn. It is part of the growing up process, which, by the way, this is credit to Grandmaster Choa. Because of Grandmaster Choa Kuksui's teachings in pranic healing, Arhatic yoga, and the higher teachings, which that's a conversation in and of itself, he has given us the methodology and the practices and the tools to make sure we don't even burn our finger. And guess what? If we burn our finger, he teaches us how to heal that, literally and metaphorically. So Laura says, need to reiterate that to myself. I'm so hard on myself. Yes, being hard on yourself is a form of negative pride. And negative pride manifests as low self-esteem, low self-worth, and low self-image. So have you ever met someone who is hyper-aggressive about how successful they are, or how good they are, or how smart they are, or how whatever they are, right? That's a form of low self-esteem. You guys get that? That's a form of low self-esteem. So when you're constantly saying how good you are in something, that is you trying to cover up your low self-esteem and your low self-worth and your low self-image. By the way, self-image is an interesting concept. Self-image is not what you think of yourself. This is key. This is a huge nugget. I like the word nugget. Self-esteem is not what you think. Self-image. Self-image is not what you think of yourself. It's what you think other people think of you. Self-image is what you think other people are thinking of you. That's why it's always been fascinating to me, and it's a materialization of my negative pride in a different way, but I was always curious why people cared so much about the opinion of other people. And I covered this in the stream earlier, that in general, people don't care what you're doing with your life because they're so entangled with their own lives, right? So I always was wondering, like for instance, I know people very close to me who are terrified of jumping onto a live stream and doing this, talking, because they're afraid of what other people will think of them. And this person's a good speaker. Clear, articulate, to the point, warm, right? So it's very, very interesting that because of the person's low self-esteem, she doesn't show up on a stream to add value to the lives of other people through her life experience and understanding, right? So I always wondered that, because you guys know I love you, right? But if you didn't like my streams, I'm fine with that. And I don't say that, I'm not saying that from pride. I'm saying that from, I know these teachings are effective. I've practiced them in my life for over 16 years. I've shared them with thousands of people, right? It's all good. If somebody's like, hey, I don't like the way Christian shares the information. I don't like the way he explains things. I think he's got crazy hair. I don't like his glasses or his transition glasses. Or I don't like his beard. Or I like him, or I like his beard. Whatever feedback. It's like, okay, I know what my strengths are. I know what my weaknesses are. Thank you for the feedback. And then I move forward. Does that make sense? So to get wrapped up in other people's opinion of me never really bothered me. But it shows up in other ways. Don't be deceived. It's not like I'm not negatively affected by the feedback of others, but it shows up in very specific ways. It's not a general thing, right? So it's like I write the newsletter, and if people don't like the newsletter, that's fine. I do the streams. If they don't like the streams, that's fine. If somebody comes to me and they pour their guts out for a healing session and I'm not able to help them properly, that bothers me, because I'm committed to helping them transform. And there's a part of my identity that is attached to them succeeding and them healing and them moving their lives forward, right? So there's an aspect of that is much, much better than it was over the past maybe 6 months to a year. Oh, you're just saying that, Anna, because you mean it. Love you too. Right? So negative pride shows up in many, 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 many ways. Many ways. So what does it require you to have? The light aspect within you developed, which means you are truthful with yourself and truthful with others. But it starts with the self. If you're truthful with yourself, you can take feedback from other people objectively, and you can go, okay, I know myself well. I'm honest with myself. This person is pointing out a blind spot that I have. Are they accurate? Yes, they're accurate because of this, this, and this. But also, if you have awareness and you have understanding and you practice self-honesty and somebody gives you negative feedback that is not true, you do the same thing. Okay, is what this person is saying accurate? No. I discard what they said. So you're like Teflon. Things don't stick to you. One of the masters in pranic healing had a gentleman come up to him, I think it was on a break, and he was screaming and yelling at the master about something specific, right? Screaming and yelling, and I believe the person was actually swearing. I wasn't in the class. This was a story that was shared. And the master is observing the person, listening to the person, and he says, is that it? Do you have anything else to say? No emotional reaction. Why? Because the master's viewing the situation from a much higher perspective. Wow, the person's suffering. Wow, the person has all these programs being awakened within their system. The person is inaccurate with what they're saying because of this, this, and this reason. But from that person's level of truth, it's real to them. It's accurate to them. It means something to them, right? So that's why there's different levels of truth and different facets of truth, right? So just because somebody calls you up and calls you an idiot, just because somebody sends you an email that says you're an idiot, just because you get a text from somebody that says you're an idiot, doesn't mean you're an idiot. Yvonne, namaste. Welcome to the party, girl. Does that make sense? Just because somebody says something about you doesn't make it true. But if you have low self-esteem, low self-worth, and low self-image, right? When someone gives you negative feedback, you're going to be like, oh, they're right. Such a loser. Right? So it's okay to burn your finger. It's okay to make mistakes. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. Stop being so hard on yourself. I'm talking to you too, Laura. Stop being so hard on yourself, because some of you aren't going to like this. I didn't like this when I heard it. So let me pass on some wisdom to you. You practicing self-pity is a form of negative pride. You guys get that? You practicing self-pity is a form of negative pride. It's a form of not taking responsibility for your life. So somebody says something mean, cruel, or hurtful to you, you can go, you know what? You're right. I do need to look at that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the feedback. I will take the necessary steps to become better. That's a good self-esteem, good self-image, good self-worth, and that's humility, right? Knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. But if you are practicing self-pity, somebody gives you negative feedback, you're like, yeah, I never do anything right. I always screw up. I'm this, I'm that, no good, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, namaste. That's a program that you're running to prevent yourself from taking responsibility. Look, I've been there many, many times. Everything I'm sharing with you guys, I've been there and done that many, many times. I'm not excluding myself from your experience and going, well, for you guys, it must be like this. It's never been that way for me. Not at all. But I've done enough self-work, inner healing, inner reflection, meditation over 20 years, to develop certain awareness that maybe a lot of people don't have. Does that make sense? But I'm not perfect. If you think this is the daily dose of the daily dose of a saint talking, you're on the wrong stream. It's not that at all. Bam, high five. Brittany, I'm a namaste. High five. I want to do the high five thing. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, clarifications about what we shared in today's stream? About it's okay to burn your finger, but don't burn your whole body. It's okay to make a mistake, but don't make a bigger, burlier, more aggressive mistake. Okay, Laura said something. Laura goes, what do you recommend for self-forgiveness if you felt that you've acted hastily and made a mistake? Just humble yourself and affirm that you'll make better efforts in the future? Nailed it. So in pranic healing, we have a meditation, a 5-minute meditation, and we have a 20-minute meditation, both of them done by Master Ko, which you can find on YouTube. Type in pranic healing, forgiveness. I'm giving away a secret. Pranic healing, forgiveness, right? And there's a 20-minute meditation that's forgiving yourself or forgiving another person, and then 10 minutes of healing. So 10 minutes of forgiveness, 10 minutes of healing. Forgiveness, listen to me, forgiveness is an ongoing practice. Meaning, you don't forgive 5 times and you're like, peace out, I'm done. I'm in a state of oneness with God, oneness with all. No more forgiveness needed. Nope. We're not there yet. Forgiveness is a constant practice. Forgiveness wipes the slate clean. Get it, Anna? It's time to wipe the slate clean when you do forgiveness. So that's something you do on a regular basis. Once a day would be preferable, but at least once a week. Why? Because we interact with people. We have friction with people. Somebody says a mean, cruel, or hurtful thing to you, or does something cruel, mean, or hurtful on purpose, or accidentally. Zori, I'm a namaste. And we have to practice forgiveness. The sooner, here's a big one, the sooner you can practice forgiveness, the faster you move forward. So Karen says, forgiveness meditation, been doing it daily and it's been very transformative. Absolutely. Super proud of her. Right? So the more you do forgiveness, the easier it is to let go. The easier it is to move forward. By the way, the reason we don't forgive is because of negative pride. We've been doing those a lot lately. The reason you don't forgive is because of negative pride. Watch. You ready to hear the mental dialogue? Somebody does something to hurt you. I'm not going to forgive them. Why should I forgive them? If I forgive them, they're going to do the same thing again to somebody else, or they're going to even do the same thing again to me. No way. I'm not going to forgive them. So what are you doing? Holding on to pain, holding on to suffering, holding on to an inaccurate viewpoint about yourself and the other person, and that doesn't allow you to move forward, right? When you forgive somebody, you're not giving them permission to do what they did again. That's a different conversation connected to boundaries. I can see what this is happening today. Different conversation connected to boundaries. Does that make sense? A lot of energy. So when you forgive, you're moving yourself forward. Hurting yourself, essentially. Correct. Because people, listen guys, people who have low self-esteem, low self-image, and low self-worth hurt themselves. Have you ever met someone who does cutting? Hello? Cutting, right? Cutting with razor blades? Do those people seem like people who love themselves? Do those look like people who have forgiven themselves? Do those people look like they have self-compassion, self-mercy, self-understanding? Do they? Right? They don't. So if you love yourself, you'll forgive. Yvonne says, that's so true. Yeah, if you love yourself, you'll forgive. If you love yourself, you'll practice compassion, right? If you desire to move yourself forward, you'll do the things that move yourself forward. I remember asking my mentor about a year ago, I said, what's the opposite of self-sabotage? And I was thinking, it's got to be success, right? The opposite of self-sabotage has to be success. I mean, she made a good point. She goes, it's not success, it's self-love. I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that if I have self-love, then the thoughts that I have, the words that I speak, and the actions that I take are going to be moving me in a progressive pathway. It's going to be moving me in the right direction of my life. But if I lack self-love, then my thoughts, my words, my actions, and interactions will pull me away from moving forward and will cause me to sabotage my health, my relationships, my finances, what have you. Right? So that was my understanding and awareness around self-sabotage is actually lack of self-love. As somebody increases their self-love, their self-worth, their self-esteem, their self-acceptance, right? Everything that they do is in alignment with their soul to move themselves forward. I shared this with a couple of you, I think, the other day, and it still rocked my world. I've been working with clients for 16 years, helping people through energy healing, meditation, practical spirituality. And I was having an issue with 2 clients in 1 week that both clients were not doing their homework. Every time you do healing with me, I give you homework, right? So we do a healing session, we do coaching, healing, homework. Coaching, healing, homework. And these 2 clients, week after week after week after week after week, were refusing to do their homework. And I thought to myself, they're coming to me for healing. I know exactly why they're stuck. I'm giving them the right dosage of homework to help them move forward. Why aren't they moving forward? It was bothering me. Namaste. It was bothering me and I didn't know why. And then it occurred to me through working with the person who heals and teaches me that because of the person's low self-esteem, they know by doing the homework, they're going to move their life forward and they don't feel good enough to move their life forward. So you say, I want to be in a loving relationship, right? That's the thought. But if you don't feel worthy of a loving relationship, then you're not going to do the right things to move you in the direction of that. So you will sabotage the efforts. So if a client comes to me for healing, we do healing, we do homework, they don't do the homework because they don't feel worthy enough to experience the benefit of healing that area of their life and moving that part of their life forward. So Karen says, yes, true, I did the same thing. Interesting. So that's why it keeps going back to self-love, but can I be honest with you guys? Can I be a little forceful? Resistance to doing the work. Yes. Amazing. Denise and I were just talking about this morning. You're talking about it now. We're all connected. Is that an orange heart? I didn't even know they had orange hearts. Is that the expelling heart? Because it's orange? Yes. So, dagnabbit, I lost the thought form. Hold on, everyone. Let me go back to what Karen said. Resistance to doing the inner work. Okay, that's what it was. See? So, this whole talk about self-love and authenticity and being your true self, all of these buzzwords and buzz phrases, they're very low-level understanding. Because a person who loves themselves shows up in a loving way for themselves, but also shows up in a loving way towards other people. Have you noticed when people get into personal development and they're on this authenticity, healthy boundaries, practicing self-care, they tend to be super irritating and annoying, and you want nothing to do with them. And I'm speaking from 20 years of experience on this one. Maybe I'm alone in this. I don't know. Those people are not coming from self-love, because if you love yourself, guess what? You're going to love other people. If you treat other people with disrespect, lack of integrity, in essence, if you treat other people like garbage, that's how you perceive yourself. So when people get on the path of self-care, self-love, being authentic, they tend to be super aggressive about it and very unhealthy about it, because they don't understand what self-love is. So if you love yourself, you're going to love other people, right? If you don't love yourself, you're going to treat other people with disrespect and unhealthiness. Make sense? So that's why I like the energy approach that we do in pranic healing. It's like, okay, you have lack of self-love. Let's remove your lack of self-love. Let's energize your energy body with more love that you can absorb and transform yourself. And then we'll give you tools to keep improving the quality of your energy and improving the quality of your relationships with other people. So you have transformation versus you need to take care of yourself and you need to treat yourself to a weekly spa, right? Spa treatments, because the way that they pitch yoga retreats and things like that is about self-care and luxury and relaxation and all of these things. And of my experience, it doesn't deeply shift and transform the person. It's like going to a movie. It's like entertaining, you get emotionally fed, you get stimulated emotionally, and you're like, okay, time to go home. But if you're seeking true transformation, a lot has to take place. And it's not easy to do. And anyone who tells you it's easy to do is they're not seeing it clearly, which connects back to the light aspect of what we're talking about. Because here's the thing, guys, if illumination was easy, if illumination happened through habit stance, then the great teachers would just tell you one thing to do. And everyone could do that one thing and become enlightened. But that's not how it works. Because everyone has different karma. Everyone has different lessons to learn. Everyone has different tests in each lifetime. Everyone has a desire to have certain experiences that other people don't. Some people want the experience of having a family. Some people want to have the experience of not having a family. Some people on the soul level want to have an experience of having a family and then losing it through divorce or tragedy. You're like, how is that possible? We're talking from the soul level. We're not talking from your personality, because our personality wants everything to be cupcakes, ding-dongs, kittens, and rainbows. Our personality wants that. I want it. I want my life, every single hour of my life, to be smooth, fun, joyful, exciting, right? But that's not how life is. It'd be awesome, but that's not how life is. My soul didn't sign up for that. My soul signed up for some other lessons and experiences. God bless my soul. So, is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover? Questions, comments, clarifications about the light aspect of the soul? Again, I'll read the sutra one last time. That's weird, I moved it. Why did I move it? If your finger has never been put into the flame, you don't know that it will burn. So better to have the finger burn rather than the whole body burn. It is part of the growing up process. Ta-da! So, it's hot in here. A lot of energy. So, for those of you who need healing, you know where to find me, ChristianRLong.com. My name, my website. Schedule a consultation or schedule healing, either one. If you have no idea what pranic healing is, schedule a consultation. If you know what pranic healing is and you want to get healing, then schedule a healing session. They're different. One's free in 30 minutes, one's paid in 60 minutes. And then we have some new things coming out over the next 2 weeks for you guys. So I hope you're excited. Hope it brings you lots of joy. Thank you for allowing me to share my teacher's work with you. Zori, back on, bringing the heat. Thank you for allowing me to share Master Choa Kok Sui's work with you guys. Again, always go back to the teacher's books. Always go back to the teacher's classes. Always go back to the teacher's CDs. Always go back to the senior disciples or masters within pranic healing to get as close to the purity of the energy as possible. Adriana apparently doesn't want to sleep tonight. Good for her. Laura says, is it okay if I use that quote for my Mindful Monday post? Yes, but you have to give credit to Master Choa. You can use the quote, but you have to give credit to Master Choa. You're very welcome, Denise. You're welcome, Zori. And it's called Golden Lotus Sutra Series. So it's a series of books. Golden Lotus Sutra Series. Experiencing Being. And then it's page 17. How do I spell what? Golden Lotus Sutra? Or Master Choa? Just put MCKS. Master Choa Kok Sui, MCKS. Thank you. You are such a blessing. Yvonne, you're very welcome. Laura, you're very welcome. My pleasure. You got it. Perfect. Woo! I'm going to take a salt bath. By the way, always giving more. For those of you who are looking to cleanse your energy bodies because we are swimming in a lot of anxiousness and uncertainty and fear connected to the coronavirus, one of the very, very good things that you guys can do is take salt baths daily. So you go to Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware. Ace is the place. I have a joke around that. I'll tell it another day. You get a 40-pound bag of solar salt. It comes in a blue bag. $7. Solar salt. Big crystals. Not the giant crystals, but the bigger than table salt crystals. And then you put 12 drops of lavender oil in the salt. And I would do this much salt. You see this? This much salt. So filling up this container with salt. Put 12 drops of lavender oil in it. Put it in warm water, mix it together, and then submerge your whole body for 20 minutes, including your noggin. You buy it on Amazon? Really, Denise? That's actually quite brilliant. I go pick it up at Ace is the place. Okay. So you submerge your whole body. Jose, namaste, for 20 minutes. What that does is it cleanses you of heavy disease congested energy. The lavender oil cleanses the emotional and mental bodies. So it's for psychotherapy, right? Because it's blue and violet energy. So again, salt, 15 drops of lavender, 12 to 15 drops of lavender oil, essential oil. Put it in the water, mix up the water, submerge the whole body for 20 minutes, including your head. But Christian, I can't hold my head under the water for 20 minutes. You get what I'm saying? And then cleanse yourself. And then when you get out, rinse off. Because you still have a little bit of congestion on your physical body. So rinse off, and that will cleanse you. And then you can either go to bed or do whatever you're going to do. Do you use eucalyptus? Yes, eucalyptus is a different purpose. So if my physical body is sick, I use eucalyptus. Or I'm cleaning my physical body, I use eucalyptus. Always use Epsom salt. That'll be so much cheaper to do solar. Epsom salt is 8 times more expensive, and Epsom salt has a different effect. Epsom salt has a different effect. It's not the same as solar salt or table salt or Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt, don't use. It's super expensive, not necessary. Solar salt, $7 for a 40-pound bag. I wouldn't recommend Epsom salt. In general, for a cleansing effect, I don't recommend Epsom salt. For a relaxation effect, yes, Epsom salt's very, very good. Why do I feel like my beard has been growing since I've been on this stream? Okay, good to know. Yeah. What was that? Reading Rainbow. It pays to know. What was that? It had a little expression at the end of Reading Rainbow. Need to know, good to know, great to know. I can't believe I know. It's connected to the light aspect. Knowing, isn't that interesting? I don't know. You guys, Reading Rainbow, whatever. I'll look it up out of my own curiosity. So I'm going to let you guys go so I can take my own salt bath. Laura, thank you. The more you know. Psh, that's it. The more you know. Nailed it. Okay, good. Thank you guys very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will catch you tomorrow for our Twin Hearts meditation at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time on Zoom. It's not on Facebook anymore. Not on Facebook. It's on Zoom. The link is on my Facebook page. You can't miss it. It's all over the place, and I look forward to connecting with you there. Thanks, Karen. So sweet. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, Namaste. Bye-bye.